Hey, welcome back to the channel. On this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to pay your credit card bills to cause the biggest increase in your credit score. So definitely stay tuned. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. All right, so let's dive right into when you need to pay your credit card. And why is this important, right? So credit card utilization is 30% of your credit score. So that equates to 165 points. So the reason knowing when to pay your credit card is so important because you can positively impact your credit score up to 165 points if you're paying it on the right day. Or if you're not paying it on the right day, you can negatively impact your credit score up to 165 points. And that's what we don't want to do. So it's important that we understand why we need to pay our credit cards on this day and pretty much the reason behind it and what happens. So find your credit card statement. Like some people get it via email. I get mine via email. Some people get it in the mail, but look on it. And typically on most credit card statements, you're going to have a due date and then you're going to have like a statement date or cycle date or something like that. So the statement date is the only day that really matters, not necessarily the due date. The due date, cool, it's important. That's a day that you need to pay your bill by per the credit card company. But the actual day that we care about, because if you're here right now on the Credit Repair Hangout YouTube channel, you're looking for ways to increase your credit score. So the statement date is the only date that matters in terms of increasing your credit score. Why? So the reason why is that is the day that the information, your balance, gets reported to the credit bureaus. Like every other day throughout the month does not matter. The only day that matters is the statement date, because that's the day that it gets reported to the credit bureaus, and that is how your score is calculated. So the easiest way for me to remember statement date, okay, it's the snitch date. So that's the day that the credit card company is going to snitch on me. So if I'm looking good on that day, cool, there's really nothing bad. But if I'm maxed out on that day, that's the day that they're going to tell the credit bureaus all about it. And then that's what's going to either, lower or raise my credit score. So you got to find this day. You can do this a few different ways. Check your email. You might see in your email, it might say something like, your statement is now available. You can call the credit card company and just say, hey, when is the day that you all report your information to the credit bureaus? And you can find it out and they'll tell you. Or if you get it in the mail, typically it'll have that day on there as well, but you gotta find that day. That is the only day that matters. And to give you another example that really helped me when I was like trying to explain it to somebody a lot younger than me, I said, hey, listen, think of your credit card company like a teacher, in a classroom, and the credit bureaus that produce the credit scores, they're the principal. So let's say you might hear my son in the background yelling and stuff, but just ignore him. He's 4. So, but you can talk all day. You can be the class clown in the classroom while the teacher has their back turned, and it doesn't matter. The teacher doesn't know, if you're being bad or not. But the moment she turns around, you need to be good at that very moment. So when she sees you, when she catches you, you need to be good. So I like to think of when the teacher turns around finally and I got my credit cards paid down all the way. That's like me sitting there on my best behavior, being quiet, not disrupting the classroom. So then when the teacher sees me, everything's good. She's like, oh yeah, you're great right now. I'm going to give you a good report to the principal that you were really good. But let's say I've been clowning the whole time and the teacher turns around and catches me clowning. Okay, all right. So now she just caught me, in my mind, to relate it back to the credit card. She caught me when my credit card's maxed out, 80% of my limit, 90% of my limit or more. At that point, she's caught you. So that's what she's going to tell the principal or the credit bureau. And that's how your behavior is going to be determined. So that's another good way to think about it. But at the end of the day, just know that you can pay your credit card by the due date. That's perfectly fine to do that. But just know until that statement runs, nothing is being reported to the credit bureaus. So typically, you have a credit card, like I have a Capital One card, I have a Navy Federal credit card, I have a few others, and my statement date for me is usually about 3 days after the due date. So, for example, if let's say I have a $500 credit limit, and let's say I pay, I spend the card all throughout the month, I charge it up, and my balance is $400, all right, so on $400 every other day throughout the month, I've maxed it out. By that statement date, which let's say the statement date is the 19th in this example, let's say on my due date, which is the 16th, let's say I go ahead and pay $350 towards that $400. So now my balance is only $50 out of the $500 limit, which is 10%. So let's say I leave it like that until the statement date. All right, boom. The statement date reports. It says that I have $50 balance out of the $500 credit limit. Perfect. Good. Well, guess what I can do the very next day after that information is reported? I can start back using my credit card as if nothing ever happened. And on that one day, I was on my best behavior. I showed $50 out of $500, and now I can use my credit card as much as I want, and the credit bureaus will never know, and I always have a good credit score because of it. So I hope that helped explain the way you need to pay your credit cards. Focus on the statement date. No matter what, due date, cool. You can pay it on the due date. Save yourself some interest if you do it that way. But just know until that statement runs, nothing's being reported to the credit bureaus because they don't report until the statement date. So statement date, snitch date. Statement date, snitch date. Remember that and you'll be good. So that's the end of this video. If you like what you heard, please subscribe. We have videos every week or every other week or as much as I can make them. Also subscribe to my podcast, the Credit Repair Hangout, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts at. Thanks for watching again. Peace out.